Why is it that this generation of people in so many ways is actually worse off and much less developed than all the generations that were before us? What changed? What were the things that changed over the last 30 or 40 years when our parents grew up? What are the things that changed? Because in general, the Gen Z generation is much worse off in so many different ways than their parents were. So what changed? Well, obviously there's the obvious things like technology. There's more technology. We grew up with smartphones, computers, video game systems. Tech is around us everywhere, so there's that. That definitely played a role. There's way more restrictions on younger people and kids these days. Like, they used 40 years ago, you just let your kid run around the neighborhood, run wild. Now they're all in like daycare centers under surveillance of a babysitter at a daycare center. Well, another thing is the food is much less nutritious. There's much less nutrient dense food. The soil is depleted. There's more stress and tension in our environment. There's more financial problems. There's more stress in the workplace. People's parents are, they're much more stressed than their parents were, and so on. That's gotten worse. There used to be somewhat of a religious or a moral, there was kind of a more moralistic and religious upbringing than there is today. So there's a decline in morality. And then there's also the financial aspect, which is that, we don't necessarily have as many opportunities as our parents did financially. We're not in a growing, booming economy. It's a really shitty economy compared to 40 years ago. And there's more restrictive laws and regulations and much stronger, tighter government, much more security, much more surveillance. So when you throw in all those factors, not to mention many more, you end up just having a much worse generation than it was before. Which is a shame, because if you look at it on paper, well, there's way more technology, there's way more materialism, the education is improved, there's more food choices, it should be much better, but in actuality, things have progressed much worse.